Jilly Cooper, who captured millions of readers with her raunchy, witty, and irresistibly charming tales set amid horse-loving high society, has died at the age of 88, her agent has confirmed. The announcement sent waves of sadness through Britain's literary and entertainment circles, marking the end of an era for a woman who transformed the romantic fiction genre with her humor, intelligence, and unapologetic sensuality. The author, whose 18 novels include Riders and Rivals, defined culture, writing, and conversation since she was first published over 50 years ago, said her agent Felicity Blunt. You wouldn't expect books categorized as bonkbusters to have so emphatically stood the test of time. But Jilly wrote with acuity and insight about all things: class, sex, marriage, rivalry, grief, and fertility. Blunt's statement encapsulated what many felt. Jilly wasn't just a writer of racy stories. She was a chronicler of human behavior, exposing the fragile egos and hidden desires of the British upper classes with a twinkle in her eye and a pen dipped in both mischief and compassion. Cooper died on Sunday morning after a fall. Her death, her family revealed, was sudden and completely unexpected. Her unexpected death has come as a complete shock, said her children, Felix and Emily. We are so proud of everything she achieved in her life and can't begin to imagine life without her infectious smile and laughter all around us. Those who knew Jilly personally often spoke about her laughter. It was famously contagious, a mix of posh giggle and unrestrained mirth that could fill a room. To her friends, she was the living embodiment of the world she wrote about, glamorous, warm, full of vitality, and never afraid to poke fun at herself or the social circles she both observed and adored. In a statement, Queen Camilla, herself a lifelong fan, said that very few writers get to be a legend in their own lifetime, but Jilly was one, creating a whole new genre of literature and making it her own through a career that spanned over 5 decades. May her hereafter be filled with impossibly handsome men and devoted dogs. It was the kind of tribute Jilly herself might have adored, regal, witty, and full of affection. Cooper's fondness for dogs was legendary. She often credited her beloved animals for providing companionship and comfort through every chapter of her life. In her home in Gloucestershire, she kept her dogs close, their names and antics often making their way into her novels. To the world, Cooper was best known for the Rutshire Chronicles, a sprawling, irresistible saga that followed the scandals, romances, and rivalries of the British upper class in the fictional Cotswolds county of Rutshire. The first book, Riders, published in 1985, became an instant sensation. It was sexy, daring, and filled with vivid characters that seemed to leap off the page. The charismatic Rupert Campbell Black, the dashing equestrian hero who embodied charm, arrogance, and irresistible appeal, became a household name. The book's unapologetic eroticism shocked some and delighted many more. Critics were divided, but readers devoured it, and Cooper became a phenomenon. The sequel, Rivals, cemented her reputation and introduced her work to a new generation. The novel was recently adapted for Disney+, bringing her decadent world of gossip, glamour, and power struggles to streaming audiences. The adaptation reignited interest in Cooper's works, proving that her writings appeal. Its mix of lust, laughter, and layered humanity remained timeless. While her novels were often described as bonkbusters, a term coined to describe the racy, blockbuster romantic fiction of the 1980s, Cooper herself laughed off the label. To her, the books were about life itself, the messy entanglements of love, lust, ambition, and betrayal. But if they want to call it bonkbuster, they can, except it ought to be called shagbuster now. Bonk is out of date, she told The Guardian in 2016, ever the witty observer of changing times. Her humor, self-awareness, and refusal to take herself too seriously made her beloved across generations. Jilly Cooper was born in Hornchurch, Essex in 1937, the daughter of a military family. Her father was an army officer, and her upbringing was disciplined yet infused with imagination. She attended Godolphin School in Salisbury, Wiltshire, a girls' boarding school that she would later describe as both terribly proper and wonderfully full of naughty girls. That duality, respectable on the surface, rebellious underneath, became a hallmark of her characters and her writing style. Her early years shaped her worldview. She loved the countryside, adored animals, and was fascinated by the class system that governed British society. She could see its absurdities and hypocrisies, but also its charm and peculiar codes of honor. These observations would later provide the backbone for her fiction, where dukes and stable boys often mingled, and where social ambition clashed deliciously with human desire. Jilly began her writing career in journalism as a cub reporter for the Middlesex Independent in 1956. It was an era when few women occupied newsroom desks, and she quickly stood out for her wit, intelligence, and curiosity. After several years in journalism, she transitioned into public relations, working for a firm in London. But it was her columns, bright, humorous, and deeply human, that caught the public's attention. By the 1960s, she had become one of Britain's most recognizable female columnists, known for her candid take on love, sex, and social mores. Her essays and nonfiction books like How to Stay Married and Class showcased her sharp observational skills and dry humor. She had the rare gift of making her readers feel both amused and understood. Whether writing about the absurdities of posh dinner parties or the frustrations of suburban life, she spoke to something universal: the yearning for love, the pain of jealousy, and the comedy in human folly. In 1961, she married publisher Leo Cooper, a man as charming and eccentric as she was. Their relationship was a partnership built on affection, mutual respect, and a shared sense of humor. "He proposed on our second date," Jilly once recalled, laughing. "I said yes because I thought he was so funny." Their marriage became one of the literary world's most enduring love stories, filled with laughter, dogs, books, and a fair amount of chaos. However, their happiness was tested when Jilly suffered an ectopic pregnancy, leading to the devastating realization that she would not be able to have biological children. After an ectopic pregnancy, it became clear I was going to be unable to have babies myself, she told The Guardian in 2017. "I was in a state of shock. I felt I'd let Leo down." It was a deeply painful time for her, and for a while she withdrew emotionally. But life, as she often wrote, has a way of surprising us. Encouraged to adopt, the Coopers welcomed 2 children into their lives, Felix, and 3 years later, Emily. Jilly threw herself into motherhood with the same enthusiasm she gave to writing, and her children would later describe her as chaotic, but endlessly loving. Her home life in Gloucestershire became the inspiration for much of her fiction. Surrounded by horses, dogs, and the lush English countryside, she created her fictional world of Rutshire, a microcosm of Britain's upper crust, filled with lust, laughter, and layered human drama. She wrote longhand, often in her kitchen, while her dogs lounged at her feet and the kettle whistled in the background. She liked to say that writing was her way of spying without guilt, a chance to observe life's theater from the best seat in the house. As her fame grew, so did the fascination with her personal style and personality. Jilly became something of a celebrity herself, a glamorous, mischievous figure with trademark pearls, scarves, and a sparkle in her eyes. Yet beneath the charm lay a formidable work ethic. She wrote slowly and meticulously, crafting each line with care. Her dialogue crackled with authenticity, her plots balanced wit with warmth, and her characters, particularly her men, were irresistibly flawed.